Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 17, verse 1. Arjuna Uvacha Ye Sastra Vidim Utsriya Yajante Shraddhayan Vitaha Tesam Nistatuka Krishna Sattva Mahorajastamaha.
Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?
Verse 2, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trivida Bhavati Shraddha Dehi Nam Sasvabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chetitam Shinu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this.
17.3 Satvana Rupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata Shraddhamayo Yam Purusho Yo Yatra Shraddha Sa Eva Saha.
O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired.
17.4 Yajante Satvika Devan Yaksha Raksamsi Rajasaha Pretan Bhuta Gnamschanye Yajante Tamasat Janaha.
Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
17.5 and 6 Asastra Vihitam Gor Ram Tapyante Ye Tapo Janaha Ambahankara Sanyukta Kamarag Bala Vitaha Karsayanta Samrastam Bhutagramam Acheta Saha Mam Chaivanta Sarirastam Tan Vide Asura Nischadyan.
Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the supersoul dwelling within, are to be known as demons.
17.7 Ahastavapi sarvasya trivido bhavati priyaha yajnastapasthatha danam te samvedam imam shinu.
Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them.
17.8 Ayusattva balarogya sukha prati vivardhanaha rasyaha snigdha sthira hridaya ahara satvika priyaha.
Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart.
17.9 Katavam la lavannati ushna Tishnaruksha vidahinaha aha ahara rajasasya dukha sokamaya pradaha.
Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease.
17.10 Yata yamam gata rasam puti paryusitam chayat uchistam api chamedhyam bhojanam tamasam priyam.
Foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness.
17.11 Abhalakangsi bhiryajno vididistoya ijjate yastavyam evati manaha samadhyasa satvika.
Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of Scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is the nature of goodness.
17.12 Abhisandhya tu phalam dambhartam api chaivayat ijyate bharata shrestha tam yagnam vidirajasam.
But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of the Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of passion.
17.13 Vidhihiram asrastanam mantrahinam adaksinam shraddha virahitam yagnam tamsam parichaksate.
Any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of Scripture, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of the Vedic hymns and remunerations to the priests, and without faith, is considered to be in the mode of ignorance.
17.14 Devadvija Guru Prajnam Ujjanam Saucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Sariram Tapa Uchyate.
Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence.
17.15 Anudveka Karam Vakyam Satyam Priya Hitam Chayat Swadhyaya Bhyasanam Chaiva Vanmayam Tapa Uchyate.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
17.16 Mana Prasada Saumya Vyaktam Maunam Atma Vinigraha Bhava Samsudir Iti Tat Tapo Manasam Uchyate.
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
17.17 Shraddhaya Parayam Tatpam Tapas Tatri Vidam Narai Abhalakans Sivir Yukta Satvikam Parichaksite.
This threefold austerity, performed with a transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness.
17.18 Satkaramana Pujartam Tapodhammena Chaivayat Kriyate Tad Iha Proktam Rajasam Chalam Adhruvam.
Penance performed out of pride, and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship, is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent.
17.19 Mudagrahenatmano yat pitaya kriyate tapah parasyostadanartam va tattasamam udartam.
Penance performed out of foolishness, with self torture, or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
17.20 Dattavyam iti yaddanam diyate nupakarine dese kalicha patre cha taddanam satvikam smritam.
Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness.
17.21 Yatstu pratyupakaratam phalam udisya va punaha diyate cha pariklistam taddanam rajasam smritam.
But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion.
17.22 Adisakale yattanam apatrebhyascha diyate asat avajnatam tattamasam udarhatam.
And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
17.23 Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmana trivida smrita brahmanastena vitascha yajnascha vihita pura.
From the beginning of creation, the three words Om, Tat, Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by the Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme.
17.24 Tasmad Om iti udartya yagna dana tapa kriyaha pravantate vidhanokta satatam brahma vyadinam.
Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with the spiritual regulations begin always with Om to attain this Supreme.
17.25 Tad iti anabhisandhyaha phalam yagna tapa kriyaha dana kriyascha vivida kriyante moksha kanksi bihi.
Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement.
17.26 and 27 Sadbhave sadhu bhave cha sad iti itat prayujnajyate prasas prasaste karmani tatha sachshabda partayujyate yajne tapasi dane cha stiti sad iti शुच्यते कर्म चैव तद् ardiyam sad iti iva bhiyate.
The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, and are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to this absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Pritha.
17.28 Asradhaya hutam datam tapastaptam kartam chayat asad iti uchyate parthe nacha tat pretyano iha.
Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme or Son of Pritha is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. Hare Krishna.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita-shu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Shraddha Trey Vibhag Yogo Nama Saptasho Adhyayaha. Hare Krishna. I'm
Hare
so sorry
Krishna.
for my pronunciation. I'm
No, that's
learning.
fine. Jyoti Mataji, you did a very good effort, excellent effort. In the beginning, you were a little bit slow, but then as you were going through, you're picking up. So I think just practice. Like all of us started like that, so don't feel bad. Just question of practice. Thank you so much. And Sharad Prabhu, as usual, very fluent English. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to our presentation. Okay, so we are continuing reading from the chapter 17, the divisions of faith. As usual, we'll go to the summary so far. So text 1 to 7, the modes determine one's faith and one's worship. Krishna is answering the question Arjuna is asking in the very first verse uh, about the faith of those who are worshipping without any reference to Shastra, something like that. So Krishna is saying that everything is to do with the modes. And then he explains the foods in the modes from 8 to 10. Then he explains the sacrifices in the modes from 11 to 13. And now in this current section, 14 to 19, he's speaking about austerity in the modes. So the first 3, 14, 15, 16 spoke about the austerity of the body, speech, and mind. And then 17, 18, 19 speak about how these 3 form austerities are done in different modes. So today is the end of this mini section. So what I intend to do is perhaps after we read the verse, we can just summarize this particular mini section so we can get our heads around it properly. So we start with the recitation of today's verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text 19. Mudho grahana tat. Start again. Mudho grahenatmano yat pidaya kriyate tapaha parasyotsādanārtham va tattamasham udaharitam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So, muda, Krishna uses this word quite often, muda meaning foolish. Prabhupada sometimes would translate this word muda as rascal. He likes the word rascal. Then what are the other interesting words here? Pidaya. So we're all familiar with the word pida. So pidaya means giving pain to others. To pain to you oneself and also to others. Because then it goes on about others, like paras. How does it go? Parasya utsadana artham. That means also to the others. So this kind of austerity, of course, it's in the mode of ignorance. And now we just go to the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So let's just see some of these. It's very short purport today, so we can just see who I can. Okay, I've got. Urmila Ben, are you able to unmute yourself to read the purport?
I'll try.
Okay.
I'll try, Mukesh bhai.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakasipu, who performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To undergo penances for something which is impossible is certainly in the mode of ignorance.
Thank you, Urmila Ben. Thank you so much. Shiva Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So short purport. Speaking about Hiranyakashipu, certainly in the mode of ignorance. We can now just go on to the next. Like I say, that's the summary of this section so far. So we start from 14. This mini section is 14 to 19. So 14 speaks about the austerity of the body. So there's 5 points that Krishna mentions. Let's see if we can recall them without looking at the text 14. Can anybody just name a few?
Cleanliness, simplicity,
Yes.
celibacy,
So 3 you got, yes.
non-violence as well.
Yes. You got non-violence, celibacy, cleanliness, simplicity. 4. 1 is left.
I think worship the Supreme, isn't it?
Yes, very good. Excellent. Thank you so much, Prabhupada Mataji. So here. So worship the Supreme Lord, Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like father and mother. So this is 1. Cleanliness, of course. Simplicity. I've listed them. It's not particularly in the order, because in the order it starts with cleanliness first. Simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. So these are the austerities of the body. Of course, we use our body to worship the Lord and the Brahmanas and our parents and also anybody who is superior. We keep our body clean inside and out, as we discussed when we were discussing this verse. We remain simple. Devotees are always simple. Devotees are not duplicious. So simplicity, very important. Celibacy goes without saying. For devotees, it's very, very important to remain celibate. And non-violence, certainly. Violence is something that a devotee would stay away from. Then we'll just go on to the next verse, if you let me. Yeah. So 17:15 speaks about austerity of the speech next, right? So again, let's see if we can recall the 5.
Pleasing to the Lord.
Pleasing, yeah, generally pleasing, I think. Speech should be pleasing, yeah.
Truthful,
to
not
the
agitating to others,
Beneficial.
beneficial,
Perfect.
Beneficial.
Beneficial.
reciting the Vedic literature.
Got it. You got it. Fantastic. We've got some wonderful scholars here. So speaking truthful words, they must be pleasing,
Beneficial.
beneficial to others, and not agitating to others, and regularly reciting Shastra. This is the austerity. So whenever whenever we're having a discussion with somebody, whatever, if we're saying something, we must, this is our yardstick. We must ask ourselves before we open our mouth, what I'm going to speak, is it truthful? Okay, that's tick box 1. Is it going to please the other party? If it does, tick box 2. If it doesn't, then don't get the words out. Is it going to be beneficial for the other party? Again, tick box. Is going to be not agitating to others. And then, of course, on our own, we're regularly reciting. Our Vani gets purified by reciting Shastra. Then coming on to the austerity of the mind. Okay, anybody?
I think simplicity is there as well, and
Yes,
self-control.
simplicity, exactly. And interestingly, it comes both. It comes mind as well as the body. So, and simplicity, just to think about it, actually, simplicity we think is more of a mental thing than a physical thing.
Okay.
But even so certainly it fits here in the mind. But even with the body, the way it fits is that our behavior should be simple. You know.
Yeah. Is it gravity? Gravity in thoughts? Yeah.
Yes, gravity is good. Gravity is
what about satisfaction? We have to be satisfied.
self-control,
satisfaction.
self-control,
Control, yes. That's one more left.
Purification.
Yeah, purification of the self. Yeah, of one's. So gravity in thought, satisfaction, simplicity, self-control, and purification of one's existence. So very powerful, very powerful. Gravity in thought, which means our thoughts must be always serious. We shouldn't have any frivolous thoughts. Satisfaction, devotees must be satisfied with what you have, not hankering after things, otherwise we will never be happy. Simplicity, as I said again, being simple in mind, not capricious. Self-control, of course, you use our mind. The mind can be our friend, as we know. Excuse me, can be our friend or can be an enemy. So we have to control the mind in such a way that it remains our friend. And purification of one's existence, exactly. By doing all the above, we are gradually purifying our existence. Then we can see the next 2 verses speak about these threefold austerities, mind, body, and speech. And now 17 speaks about in how these three things are done in goodness. Done with transcendental faith, that's goodness, not expecting material benefits from it, and only for the sake of the Supreme. So those are naturally in the mode of goodness. And then in the passion, done out of pride, for the sake of honor, respect, and worship. And this kind of is neither stable nor is it permanent, right? So this covers up to so far in this mini section. Now we can go on to today's verse, and we look at these austerities in the mode of ignorance. So people who do this, who do austerity in ignorance, they do it out of foolishness. Muda, it says in our verse today. Muda, foolish people, right? And they self-torture. So basically, we'll see some examples of it later. But yes, if you're doing an austerity which is torturing yourself, not we can when we say it, for example, when we do nirjala, right? We do not eating or drinking for 24 hours, or almost 36 hours. You can say that is in a sense you're torturing your body, people would say. But actually we are doing it for the right cause. So in that, it doesn't fit here in ignorance. That would certainly fit in goodness, because we are doing this to please the Lord, right? But self-torture for, out of foolishness. Right? and to destroy or injure others, right? So this is very important. So Prabhupada gives us the example of Hiranyakashipu here. And this is Hiranyakashipu, and how, first of all, out of foolishness, because what was he after? Hiranyakashipu was after immortality. Now we know, everybody knows that that is not possible. And in fact, Hiranyakashipu was a very learned person. As we know, when his brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Krishna, and the family and his wives and everybody was very morose, Hiranyakashipu was giving them high philosophy about the soul and all that. So he was very learned. So for such a learned person to foolishly ask for immortality, this is completely madness. And then what kind of austerity did he do? He did just amazing amount of austerity. He was deeply meditating on Lord Brahma. So you think about it, so meditating on Lord Brahma, when you think about it, it's a nice act. That should be in the mode of goodness. Somebody is meditating on Lord Brahma should be in the mode of goodness. But you see, it is not the act itself, but it is the intention or the motive behind the act. So that same meditation that he was doing, Prahlad Maharaj did, for example, right? Not Prahlad Maharaj, sorry, Dhruva Maharaj did. Although initially Dhruva Maharaj's intention was to gain a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather, but at least he was worshipping the Supreme Lord, and we know the result, what happened. The Supreme Lord comes, he automatically gives the intelligence to ask for the right thing. So here he's worshipping Brahma, but with the wrong motivation. The motivation was to become immortal himself and to lord over the whole universe. That was his plan. So true austerity is meant to rectify us. It's not meant to seek some power that we can use for our own benefit. True austerity is meant to perhaps get the mercy of the Lord and the devotees, something like that. But the austerity that Hiranyakashipu did for thousands of years, he was meditating, standing still, so still that you can see here in the pictures that the ant hill sort of, it takes ages and ages for ants to build up a hill, but they built up this hill around him. And it is said that actually, you can see in this picture, half his body is eaten. So this particular picture actually is when his body is about to be retransformed back to normal. But whilst he was in that anthill, the ants had eaten away all his eyes, his skin, his muscles, everything was gone. All that was left was a skeleton. And it is explained that because he was very, very powerful, he was holding his life air in the bone marrow. That's how he remained alive. And when Lord Brahma arrived with his blessing, he received his normal body back instantly. But this is the kind of torture that he gave to his body. Can you believe it is the limit? How much torture can you give to your body? But this is this is what he did. So now you see his austerity was not with humility. He was absolutely not humble. He was doing this amazing austerity. Why? Of course, we spoke about the fact that he wanted all this power and all that. But with austerity, he was being how do you call it? Manipulative. So he is manipulating the whole situation, right? With a severe austerity, he got to a stage where even the earth was shaking and the demigods were afraid. The demigods went to Brahma. So see, he manipulated the whole thing so that the Lord would have to come down, not by humble request. And all that was driven by his desire to just ultimately become the Lord of the whole universe. So this is a good example of austerity in the mode of ignorance. So here, this is just explaining what I just explained. The anthill grew up, covered his body, all skin, flesh, everything disappeared, leaving only the bones. So we can have a look at other examples of this kind of austerity and penance. So I'm going to put some pictures up and see if we can recognize personalities. Anybody recognize this personality? The clue is in the armor on his chest.
Is it Ravana? No.
No, Ravana didn't have
Karna.
Karna, yes.
Yes, but it's not Karna. Karna, this is
In his
Karna's
previous life, he was
previous life, exactly, Krishna Mataji. For Karna's previous life, he was a powerful demon called Dambodbhava. Dambodbhava or Sahasra Kavacha, they are two names. So imagine, Damba means pride. Dambodbhava, it means he was a pride personified, right? And then he got the name Sahasra Kavacha because, who was it? It was Suryadev. He actually...
Sun god, yeah.
Sun god, Suryadev, exactly. Sun god, he actually did amazing, like similar to Hiranyakashipu. It's not, details are not given, but must be that kind of austerity to please the sun god. And the sun god came and again he asked for immortality, like Hiranyakashipu did. The same answer he got from sun god that, I can't give you that. Then he asked for 1,000 kavachas. Give me 1,000 armors. And the condition is that I will fight everybody, and for somebody to fight with me, to begin with, he has to do a 1,000-year tapa. Then he can be eligible to fight with me. And then he has to fight me for 1,000 years, and then only can he get rid of one of my kavachas. And on top of all that, when he finishes, he will die. Imagine. So in one sense, he actually got much, but first of all, there's first to find people who can do 1,000-year tap, although we're talking about in those ages where people were living quite long, still it's quite rare to have somebody doing 1,000-year tap. Secondly, then somebody to have the strength to fight him for 1,000 years, because he was so powerful that any sort of normal enemy, he would just crush within minutes, forget about days or years. But he wanted, so number two. Number three, that person would die anyway. So, and he would only lose one kavacha. But then he met his match, didn't he? Anybody know what happened next?
Narayan.
Yes, he came to the Badrika Ashrama, and this is where Lord Narayan were doing their tapasya, and he started to challenge them. And they said, okay, we've done 1,000-year tapasya. Now I'm going to fight you for 1,000 years. So Nara, one of them went and fought with him for 1,000 years, whilst the other one was doing the penances. He then got rid of one kavacha and he died. Of course, this is the first time. But then the other brother, he revived him with some mantras. So like this continued until 999 kavachas were gone. And at that time, this Dambodbhava, Sahasra Kavacha, he called out for Suryadev for help. Suryadev came, but also it is said what happened was the yuga changed at that time. Yuga changed from Treta Yuga to Dwapara, and then later on he was born as Arjuna. So this is where you see Arjuna. So you can see in the left picture is 1,000 Sahasra Kavacha and Arjuna with one Kavacha, which was left.
Karna.
Sorry, no, Arjuna. Karna. Yes. Thank you, Krishna. Karna. So that's it. Then this is the other one. Vrikasura, exactly. Vrikasura, again, his austerity was amazing as well, wasn't he? He was, I believe, yesterday when Navanchandra was mentioning this, he was cutting pieces of his own body and offering it in the oblation, just to get the attention of Lord Shiva. And then, as we know, what did he ask for? Completely in the ignorance, he just wanted to kill people. So he asked for the power to put his hand on somebody's hand, and his head would shatter into 1,000 pieces. And what happens after he gets the boon? He wants to test it out on Lord Shiva, doesn't he? So Shiva runs away. He chases him. Finally, they get to, I think Lord Krishna or Vishnu takes the form of an innocent Brahman boy and tricks this Vikrasura to put the hand on his own head, and this way he's destroyed. So this kind of austerities at the end result in the death of the person, destruction of the person, as we can see always. And then one more we can have a look at.
Holy kind Prahlad?
No, this is not Prahlad Maharaj. This is a little bit more less known, I guess. It's from the Bhagavatam, from the Krishna book. Kashiraj was killed by Krishna because Kashiraj supported that person who was pretending to be Krishna. What was his name? Poundrak. Because Kashiraj was supporting him, Kashiraj was killed. So Kashiraj has a son called Sudarshana. Sudarshana, when his father was killed, he took a vow that I will take revenge and I will kill Krishna. So Sudarshana then does severe austerities to please Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva then gives him the audience, and then he says, I want to do this. See, the thing is here, the irony is that Lord Shiva, when somebody says, I want you to give me make me strong or give me some power so I can kill Krishna. And Lord Shiva is a top Vaishnava, right? You would think, why would he even encourage that? But pastimes are there, right? He did. He gave him a mantra to chant and do some more powerful austerity, did a havan, and with the help of some priests who were also in the same sort of mode of ignorance, they invoked this powerful demon. His name was something like Dakshinagni. Very powerful. You can see, long teeth, fearful face, copper hair. It is described copper hair. He had this trident which was blazing like the sun. Very huge, very powerful. And he said, okay. Then he said, right, go. And he orders the demon to go and kill Krishna. So the demon goes to Dwarka. As he's approaching the Dwarka, all the Dwarka Vasis are running here and there, seeing the sight of this very, very fearful demon. And Krishna, when Krishna hears of this, he smiles. He knows what's happened. He fully understands because he's Antaryami. He knows that this Sudarshana has done this. He just sends his Sudarshan Chakra. Of course, it doesn't matter how powerful a demon may be. Nothing can match the Sudarshan Chakra. So as the Sudarshan Chakra is chasing him, he runs backwards, goes all the way back to Kashi. Now, one of the things apparently with these boons that they get, when the demons, they get a boon like this to get the Rakshas or to get some kind of a weapon to kill the enemy, the way it works is that if that weapon or the personality is not successful in that task that was given to him, he will go back and destroy the person who created him. So this demon went back and he actually destroyed Sudarshana. So you can see the mode of ignorance, whatever boons you get, in the end, it'll destroy you yourself. And the story goes, Sudarshan Chakra then goes and completely, destroys the city of Kashi, and then comes back. So, yeah, so these are the few examples I thought of. Is there any other? I'm sure there are many. Anybody else think of any other examples? Nothing comes to mind straight away, right? Yeah, the Western money anyway. So basically, yeah, to torture our body obviously is not right. The body is a gift from the Lord, and we must respect it like that. It has been given to us for this particular lifetime, so we must utilize it for the Lord. Even to give it up, sometimes people have some problems in life, material problems, and they start having thoughts of suicide. And even that is one of the biggest sins. It is said, look, it's a gift of the Lord to you. You have no right to destroy it. In the Chaitanya Leela, as we know, there's a time when Sanatana Goswami, when he first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he happened to have a skin condition, and he was oozing pus all over his body. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first met him, he actually hugged him. And he says, please, Mahaprabhu, don't do that to me. You look at my pus will go on your body and everything. And then he actually laments that. And he says, I want to give up my body. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to him, it is not your property. You have no right to give it away. It must be engaged in the service of the Lord. So, yeah. Then other example I was thinking about in terms of torturing, you must have heard of it. This is a Muslim custom called Muharram. Does anybody know what that means, Muharram?
They make lots of scratches on their body, and they make really.
Yeah.
They're,
So of course,
they're Sunni, Sunni. They are
Sunnis. Yeah. This Shias. Shias do that.
Shias. Yeah.
So what happens is they have this particular time, one time in the year, where they're observing some kind of one defeat of one of their saints at that time, and they on that day, this particular sect, I haven't seen it in this country, but when we were living in Uganda, on that day they would go on the main street. They would have the permission from the police, and they would do this. Look at this. If you're squeamish, you can close your eyes. They actually take chains and sharp things, and they are beating themselves all over the body. Look at these people are bleeding all over, right? But this is torturing their body, right? Of course, we know that I personally don't know the deeper meaning of why they're doing it exactly, but you can see it seems to be in the mode of ignorance. Why would you want to torture your body in such a cruel way? They says here that they striking off the chest with palms, striking off the backs with chains, and cutting foreheads with knives or swords. I've seen
We
this
used to
myself.
see this in Middle East every year.
Right. So exactly. So I used to see it every year, and people used to actually bleed and have to go into hospital the next day. So yeah. So this is another example of this kind of ignorance, austerity. Then I was thinking about David Blaine. Blaine. Does anybody know who David Blaine is? He's the what you call it? Not a magician, but
illusionist.
Illusionist. That's the word. Thank you, Shraddha Prabhu. Illusionist, right? So here, there's one time he actually put himself in a water tank, and he stayed there for 7 days, torturing his body. Then at the time, for 3 days, he stayed packed up in his ice, big block of ice, and he was inside for 3 days. Just kind of, for him, this was just to break records or to get fame, right? So this is probably more ignorance, probably more passion, really, in this case, right? Then here you can see he's standing on this 100-foot high, narrow platform, right? Just standing like that with no support. And he stood there for 35 hours. Right? And here, this was near the Houses of Parliament here in London, where he actually got himself in a glass case, and he stayed there for 44 days, just on surviving on 4.5 liters of water every day. So this is the kind of austerity people get up to, absolutely for no reason, waste of time. Today is a very special day, Vasanta Panchami, as we know. Today in all the ISKCON temples, the deity outfits are all yellow, celebrating today's day. Vasanta Panchami is like the first day of spring, I suppose, in India. Here, of course, we are far away from spring, but yeah, so it's a very important day. Also, very, very important days in terms of it's a appearance day of Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi, appearance day of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, very important Acharya in our line. Appearance day of Sri Pundarika Vidyanidhi, again, very important Acharya, and the disappearance day of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So very powerful personalities. Today is the day. But I thought we quickly have a quick discussion about Srimati Vishnupriya Devi. Very, very amazing personality. So most of you know she was the second wife of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
The first wife, Lakshmi Priya, she left her body because of a bite of a snake, apparently. And then his mother was very morose, so just to please his mother, he married Vishnu Priya. And then soon after that, the cruelty of life is soon after that. And Vishnu Priya was only 15, 16 years old, such a young person. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes sannyas. So in terms of, think about the austerity that she had to go through, right? So here it says separation when Mahaprabhu left. It says here, maybe Hema Mataji, you can read this.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Her life was changed drastically. The separation was agonizing to the core. It was in the shades of Radharani. The earth splits from the sound of Vishnu Priya's crying. The birds and beasts, even the trees and stones shed tears when they heard it. Falling to the ground, she would lament, crying out, "Why does my sinful life not end?" In separation, her breath was like fire, drying her lips, and her body trembled constantly. Chaitanya Mangal 2.14, 15 to 6.
So look at the severe separations. Look at the pain she's going for. She had to live through. And then next paragraph, maybe we'll ask Vishalini Mataji to read, please.
Other than the morning bath in the Ganga with her mother-in-law, she restricted herself to the house. She followed a strict spiritual life, and it is said that devotees never heard her voice and could see nothing more than her feet. But it was never doubted that Vishnu Priya served Sachi Mata and was eating the remnants, constantly shedding tears. She became pale and thin. She counted her chants by joyfully placing grains of rice from one mud pot to another. Each rice would mean chanting one mantra of 16 names of the Lord, and she would chant this until she fell asleep. The accumulated rice, drenched in her tears, would be used for cooking the next day. She would offer it to the Lord first.
Thank you so much, Vishalini Mataji. So imagine, look at the austerity. Because of the separation of Mahaprabhu, she would only eat this much. She would for every mantra she chanted, she would put a grain of rice in the pot, and as many grains were collected at the end of the day. Next day, she would use that to cook, offer it to the Lord, and then offer first of all to Sachimata, to her mother-in-law, and then whatever was left, she would have. That's all she would have. But this is the austerity in the mode of goodness, because this is the austerity she was doing to please the Lord. Right? And this particular picture you see here, is her murti in the Sri Rameshwar Mahaprabhu Mandir in Navadvip. That's where she's still worshipped. So yeah, amazing things about austerity. So let's stop here. Now we'll request any comments, any questions, any realizations, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Santosh Mataji.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned earlier on about the bodily tortures that some of the communities perform. I'm just wondering whether this is as a result of the faith, the strong faith that these communities have in whoever is granting their request, or is it something that whoever they are performing the faith for, that it is they or the demigods or whoever it is asking this out of them. So which is it, I wonder? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Santosh Mataji. Like I say, I don't know too much about it. I mean, I just witnessed it, and I didn't speak very much in terms of detail about anything. But I think it's a combination of both. First of all, yes, as we know that they do actually have very firm faith in their teachings. So whatever is there in the teachings they are following, right or wrong. And of course, the Lord, obviously, this kind of misery, this kind of pain that they need to go through is probably also due to the karma. You know, sometimes we suffer damage to our body because of an accident or a fall down or something, right? But that's an accident. But when you purposely do it to yourself, then something that is obviously, you know, the Lord must have sanctioned it, that you're going to go through a certain amount of pain that will be inflicted upon yourself by your own self. But I'm speculating really, because I don't know much about this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. When I was in India, we used to also watch these people, and they were, you know, like chain and chamcha, you know, what you call chipia, and they used to hit themselves. But then they say at the end, you know, like I don't know where they go to the mosque or where somewhere, and they all get, you know, better. I never heard that they have to go to the hospital and things. So, but if they have to go to the hospital, then there is something not working, isn't it?
Yeah. But the thing is, if they're using chains on the back end, it's not just one or two. You know, they go through hours. They used to go through the streets, main street, and they used to be hitting. So they're probably hitting themselves probably 500, 600 times. So there's damage. I know certainly that some people did go to the hospital the next day.
Okay, because I know they were bleeding and we had seen them, but yeah, we already watched. We don't know afterwards what happened to them.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, but like you say, if you say that they go to the mosque and they get sort of automatically healed, then that is of course a miracle. That is something that would be worth worth knowing.
That's what they were saying. So we don't know how much truth is in there. So.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have seen this Muharram thing in Africa, because I'm from Africa, and I had Muslim friends. And when this month used to come, basically they say, because they were my friends, I asked them that, you know, why do you have to torture yourself like this? Why do you have to hit yourself and bleed so much? And so they didn't do it in front of all the people in the on the roads in public, but they used to go inside the mosque and, you know, harm themselves. And the next day or so, when they come to school, I used to see cuts and stuff. And what they said is that obviously years ago, hundreds of years ago, when their god or guru or someone was here on earth, they did throw stones on him or something like this, and they hurt him. And now this is the way they're paying back, by shedding their own blood. I don't know how true this is, but yeah, they used to hurt themselves and cuts and stuff, and I've seen it on them.
Yeah.
When they come back after a few days.
Okay, yeah. So that's there you go. There's some explanation. There's some history because of some particular saint that they're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, they hurted him, so now they are paying. Like,
okay. So
yeah,
so
this is a mode of ignorance worship, isn't it, Prabhu?
It is definitely from our Shastric point of view, to torture yourself in any kind of you know, is definitely in the mode of ignorance. That's how we would see it. Certainly. But then, like I say, you know, when we see them on the streets, we never used to see ladies do it. It was mainly men who used to do it on the streets. So
only men, Prabhu, no ladies. Only men used to do that. Yeah.
I remember. But like Jyoti Mataji is saying, maybe the ladies were doing it in the church behind closed doors.
Just the ladies just used to cut a little bit, like just a blade or something. But the boys that were in my class and we were friends, they used to do a bit more than that. Yeah. You know, they used to have cuts on their backs and on their arm and stuff, a bit more than the girls.
Yes.
Ladies were not that much allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you go. Any other comments? So I got Santosh Mataji saying, luckily in Krishna consciousness, this physical torture is non-existent. Yeah, thank God for that. Yes. Anyone else? Any pastimes anyone want to share about Vishnu Priya Devi? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry.
Sorry, Rupa Mataji, please. Yes.
Dandavat pranams. I was just wondering, is Vishnu Priya Devi Lakshmi Devi or Radharani, like in the, when Krishna comes, he comes with all the paraffin. So I was thinking, who was Vishnu Priya Devi?
Yeah, good question. There are different things said apparently. His first wife, Lakshmi Priya Devi, she was said to be the goddess of luck, goddess of fortune. And from what I remember, and I stand to be corrected, what I remember is that Vishnu Priya was a personification of Saraswati Devi. Can anybody confirm this or correct it?
I was hearing Guru Maharaj's lecture, Prabhu, and then Guru Maharaj was saying that, like Lord Vishnu, he has two Sakti, like Bhudevi and Sri Devi.
Yes.
So this Lord Chaitanya's two wives is one is Bhudevi and another Sri Devi.
Okay.
I think he had three
That's what I
Shaktis,
heard.
isn't it?
That's what
Three
I heard.
different. He had three different internal Shaktis, which is Shri, Bhu, and Nita. And that was appeared as Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi, according to Gaudiya history.
Okay, now say again, Bhagavati Mataji, I didn't quite hear that.
The Supreme Lord has three different internal Shaktis. One was Shri, Bhu, and Nita. And Bhu Shakti appeared as Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi in Gaudiya history.
Okay. So
yeah.
Okay. Shri, Bhu, and what was the third word I didn't hear?
Nita. Nita. Nita.
Nita. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that I had something I must research. Okay.
Yeah, if you go on a Gaudiya, I think I read it just a couple of days ago when we were doing our mentee meeting regarding Vishnu Priya, and we read about that the Lord has three different internal potencies.
Okay,
and that's what.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Bhagavati Mataji. Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Rupa Mataji. Thank you for the question.
Also, Lord Nityananda, he also had two energies, like Vasundhara Devi and what was the name of
Janava Mataji.
Janava Mataji.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. All right, devotees. Thank you so much once again for your association. It's wonderful every day you're coming on and giving us your association. It's so fantastic. Thank you so much. Please do look after yourself. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare
Krishna.